Yes, greetings once again. Yes, children. Yes, soul brothers and sisters. You're tuned in again to Cosmic Root Show with your brother Siayome, Cosmic El Mystic, and aka Abankrem. You're tuned to Bless Radio, Know Thyself. So yes, man, buckle up for this ride because this journey and this show this evening is called about. It's titled Liberation from Manufactured Reality. So stay tuned.
You gotta know your true worth and your worth. Oh, rise up and be strong. On and on. The infinite mind is in all things. Deep within your deeper self where everything begins. Whoa. I call it. Whoa, from the yeah, yeah. From the reality of our true selves. There can be no other savior than yourself. Yeah, yeah. Such deep love for yourself. Oh, rise up and free your mind, yeah, yeah. Whoa, roots and call it from deep within. Whoa, who will be here? Reality of our true selves. Can I live together in this disagreeable way? No, 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 no. So I guess I'll have to say to you, we're on our way. Kicking off the dust from off our heels. I say he who knows is he who feels. So call it from within, say me, oh yeah, reality of our true selves is what your spirit said to me. Break the spell to be now free. Whoa, roots and realize your spiritual majesty. Yeah, open up your eyes so we can now see. Whoa, roots, reality of our true self. There can be no other savior than yourself. Roots, yeah.
You want to support Roller Rock Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every
million people.
Wow. Gee whiz. Got some shit stuff going on in here. So greetings. Greetings to you all, one and all. This is your brother Siayome here. Cosmic All Mystique and aka Abankrem here with you again. So you are tuned in to Know Thyself Bless Radio. Firstly, for all of those who just tuning in, maybe for the first time, greetings to y'all. And for those who want to tune in via some other methods, like if you're not dealing with the YouTube Live, which you can do by typing in Bless Radio 1 on YouTube, and you will catch me live right now. Or you can be on www.blessradio.org and go through the internet. And you can also, if you download the TuneIn app, and basically you can connect through that, Bless Radio 1. And the telephone number for those who, if you feel a little tickled and you want to kind of call up and say certain things, contribute to the to what I'm going to be dropping here tonight. The telephone number is 07 944 313 66. That's 07 944 313 66. Now, this show is going to be, see how I'm going to do this show, because quite a few things are going to be involved in this show this evening to bring home the point I'm going to be making. So I'm going to play two videos for you. They're about 20 minutes each, but I think it's important for you to hear this stuff here in order to be able to comprehend where I'm going to be going with this. So tonight, the title of this show is called Liberation from Manufactured Reality. Yes, manufactured reality. I'm first going to play with you an African Union ambassador to the U.S. officers, masterful history lesson, y'all, dissecting the legacy of colonization. Now, it's important to understand how things came to be the way they are today. You know, when your children born, we came in here as well to our parents. Those of us coming in with active soul memory, enough soul memory to be asking questions about why is things the way they are. Children ask a lot of questions, and I was one of those. And the thing is, we can sense in ourselves, in our soul, that, we carry a truth that is different to what we've incarnated into, the societal, cultural framework that we've incarnated into. So we know something's not right, but, we're asking questions to those who are bigger to us at the time, thinking that, well, they should know, as the first port of call you're going to do, you go to your parents and so forth. And then they may not really, you ask certain questions and they're just going to say, it's because it's the way it is. That's just the way it is. Because they may have never questioned the very things that you're questioning and you're that young, yeah? And because, this conditioning, this programming, this societal cultural construct, this is something that, is congenital, gets passed on from generation to generation, okay? So you then kind of feel to yourself like, based on what folks say, they're saying, well, God, this is the way God made the world. This is the way, use the God thing to kind of to say, well, this is the answer to your question. God made it this way. Now, y'all people, that is stuff that is, that's just infantile stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because as you grow and take responsibility to find the answers to your own questions, because you realize, like I did around 19, a little earlier than that no one around me knew anything. I took the responsibility to get the answers to what was rising in me, the answers to the questions that I was seeking, that was being, rising up from within inside from my soul. So, so you come to realize that this is really a manufactured reality, okay? Yeah? And I'm going to play you this AU ambassador. This woman is going to give y'all a good little masterful history lesson, okay? Through dissecting the legacy of colonization. Now, those of us who, or those of you who have done your own kind of, you've done your own digging, you've been doing your own excavations, you've been going beneath the surface, okay, and getting deep into gaining knowledge of yourself and answers to the questions that folk around you when you were younger just couldn't answer because they weren't even questioning those things, or they were frightened to question those things. But the thing is like now a lot of things is coming up, being revealed. Like, corpses are being dug up. You know what I'm saying? From the ground, buried, all that stuff that's being buried, all the dust that's been piling up for years, yeah, for centuries, is like, she's, is just, yeah, when it's getting too obvious. And that rug, yeah, that rug is not flat, definitely, it's just flipping. Heck, basically the rubbish and the dust is just bigger than the carpet, the rug that was covering up now. So everything is getting kind of revealed and exposed, but it's also a thing where, yeah, I'm going to have to go into a few things tonight and correlate all this together. Because, listen, man, to help you understand all of this stuff, you got to begin to shift your consciousness from thinking you're just flesh, blood, and bone, and begin to understand that you are vibrational consciousness, energy, life, intelligence, okay? And, I have this term saying, like, look, I'm the ocean and the wave in the ocean. You know what I'm saying? But the ocean is greater than the wave, always, you see? Yet the wave is generated out of the ocean, all right? And returns back to the ocean, all right? Now, the metaphor for that, why I'm using it, is that the ocean is your soul, and the wave is the manifestation of what you are calling your corporeal form, okay? Your individuation, your mind, your body. But this is a product of the soul, okay? As I said, the waves being drawn out of the ocean and will return back to the ocean. The ocean is the soul. The wave is the existence of a temporary or transiting experience in time and space, okay? And this is why, nothing is staying the same. And eventually that wave, no matter how high and no matter how big, how long it may, be strong and endure, it eventually all will return back into its source from where it was generated from, which is the ocean. So this analogy is to say, well, look, man, this is how you have to begin to understand yourself, to relate to who you are on a broader level, beyond just this corporeal, earth-based conditioning and the narratives that have been taught to people of the world to basically, get them constructed in a man-made belief system which shapes your perception of yourself, which therefore generates the thoughts and feelings associated with that. And then when you act from that, your behavior, then you manifest basically you manifest the contents of your beliefs into material existence or material expression. So now a lot of this expression, what we're manifesting, is not what you prefer. And there's a lot of unconsciousness if you're not conscious and waking up to who you truly is. So anyway, because this is going to be a bit of a packed show, I think I'm just going to get to it. And I'm going to play you, firstly, this is about 20 minutes. So I want you're going to have to, whether you want to sit down, get your tea, if that's what you're into, or just, bunnies, roll up a zuko, whatever you do for you. Now, just relax, tune in, focus, and get a little education here from this sister who is addressing the U.S., okay? And she's an AU, African Union ambassador, making an addressment to the U.S., and she's offering a masterful history lesson dissecting the legacy of colonization. Now, remember, the theme of the title of this show tonight is called Liberation from Manufactured Reality. A lot of people don't realize that what you're in is not God-made as such, and what you're being taught, especially about this God outside of you, some external authority. This is all constructed and man-made, and it's manipulating your consciousness and so forth. But I'm going to be tying this up also into the full moon. I'm going to play another video, which is on something else, but it's all related. It's dealing with this full moon, June full moon that we've had in Sagittarius. Now, any of you been following the shows, you notice that I do, or be aware that I do also include cosmic astro weather into my explanations of what's going on, on a collective level, an individual level, now, okay, what's going on and transpiring through ones, okay? So I'm going to be, bringing in this thing about the full moon we just had yesterday in Sagittarius. And, first, before So first, so I'm gonna lay down a little foundation. So first, you gotta understand that everything is vibrations. Okay, everything is in existence is defined by vibrations. It's very important for you to be able to expand your awareness into in taking in this knowledge. Because if you keep looking at yourself as a solid, okay, if you keep looking at yourself as just flesh, blood, and bone, you're just looking at yourself from a material, conditioned mindset, and just dealing with what you can smell, hear, taste, touch, and see, and that's supposed to encompass the totality of reality, then, yo, man, you're going to need a serious recollaboration going on here. Because for you to be able to really grow and expand through what's going on in this time, you need to understand, you need to get to know the true nature of reality, okay? And there's no accident why all of this knowledge and why we're even able to be talking about this, so openly as such, what would be considered spirituality, which usually would just be considered a religion. What religion you on? What belief do you got based on what religion you on? But spirituality is beyond that, because even religion is man-made. Okay, that's man-made stuff. Okay, but what was used to create these man-made stuff was things that actually have various truth in them. Yeah, deeper truth. Pertaining to the facts that have been derived from these deeper mysteries that has not been what you're going to be getting taught in the institutions called of so-called education. And institution, just to let you know, means to set up. So when someone's being set up, or they say, "Dang, it's a setup," that's what this whole thing is. It's a setup. Okay, it's a manufactured setup. So firstly, you need to really be able to get this, and expand and follow what's going on here. First, you have to understand that, look, everything in existence is defined by vibrational frequencies. Vibrational frequencies of consciousness. Yes, your consciousness is vibrational frequencies, yeah? And so everything that exists in existence, as I said, is defined by vibrational frequencies of consciousness. So light, sound, color, all physical phenomena, both living and inanimate, yeah, if you can, are basically vibrational frequencies of consciousness. So what it is that if you can change the frequency of vibration of any single thing, you change the appearance of that thing, be it sound, color, gas, liquid, physical organs, etc. So when physical organs, for example, present an appearance of ill health, it is because the normal frequencies of the vibrations of that physical organ have been reduced and the life force within has been depleted. Now, science presents the universe as being matter possessing consciousness, right? They tell you that, consciousness emerged out of the brain after a particular period of evolution. Well, you see, that is all backfoot, and that is all dumbed down information, yeah, is intentionally done to dumb you down, to keep you focusing on matter, because the Greeks that stole a lot of things out of the mystery systems of other ancient cultures going on in Africa and around the world, and the Europeans was going around dealing with this stuff around the world. But what I'm saying is that the Greeks, those of you who old enough to kind of remember when we were being taught stuff about how the Greeks were the founders of civilization, okay, all of that type of stuff, when the Greeks were actually taught by the ancient Ethiopians, which is also in their journals, in the annals of their historic documents. Okay, you even have a papyrus in the British Museum where the Greeks are thanking the ancient Egyptians, which ain't Egyptians. I told you this already. Yeah, the word Egypt is a Greek word. Okay, but they're telling the ancient Comedians, thanking the ancient Comedians for teaching them astrology. Okay, and we have Western astrology now. You have the old Roman, this and that. And a lot of people think those signs are Roman, and they're not. They're African, okay? George Jackson, go check out that book, okay? Introduction to African Studies, you will find how old those symbols are. So they are not Roman, okay? And they are not Greek. It's just being taken and superimposed with Greek terms, Roman terms, and so forth. But all of those images or the glyphs for those star signs or constellations, you can go back as far back to the Dandora Temple of Dandora, and on the ceiling you see in the zodiac there. Okay, with all those signs, okay, that you see in the modern zodiac that you got now. So it's old, okay? It's more ancient than the Rome and the Greek stuff. But it's the Greeks, they turned around and took stuff out the mystery system, okay? And they, when you're dealing with what is the substance? What is the primordial substance of existence? Okay? The Greeks turned around and said it's matter, okay? And this is the reason why they built a civilization where people believe that the more material things that you acquire, the more substance that you have. Because the Greeks started off the premise to say that the substance of all existence is matter. Now, that is not true. Yeah? They took this principle out of the ancient Kemetic mystery systems, okay? And in the ancient Kemetic mystery systems, the primordial substance was not matter. The primordial substance was consciousness, okay? Consciousness. Now, you have this thing where, in the West, there's this finality of things. Like, oh, the end, it's the death, it's the end, it's over, that type of idea. And there's also this idea of this emptiness, there is an emptiness, nothingness, yeah, no thing. Yeah, and no thing is an existence just beyond something. It's a existence beyond the something summing up to actually a thing. So you're talking about actually a state that is beyond manifestation, okay, or materialization, the no thingness. So they have this term about emptiness and empty. Now the thing is that you got to understand and appreciate that ancient cultures were very far advanced than what you're dealing with today. And from the Western perspective, we've been taught, everybody has been taught that, this is how you're taught. Those who were before, or that which was of a later time period when you're dealing with civilizations that existed before now, we've been taught that everything that was before was less developed, okay? They called it primitive, and even the word primitive means prime, coming from the word first or supreme. Okay, so but it's used in a derogatory term, but it's actually the prime. It's actually to do with the first, the supreme. Okay, so prime. The best part of something. Somebody wants some prime steak or prime stuff. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with the first. You're dealing with what also breaks down to mean the supreme. Okay, so. But anyway, primitive is being used as a derogatory term. So it's like, oh, people were, back in the time, they were not as advanced. They were just, living in caves and fire and using flint and all that stupid stuff that you're taught from, when we were growing up, some certain stuff that we were taught in them institutions, was some really, knuckle dragging backfoot business. But anyway, then they tell you that now the modern day, the modern era, we have more advanced things. That's, we got more of an advanced civilization, such to say, and everything is more progressive and we know more. Okay? Now, if that was the case, then with all the technology you have today, please go and build the flipping Giza pyramid, yeah, or the Temple of Edfu. Yeah, or build one of those megaliths that you see in ancient, structures around the world. Build all those pyramids there, in lining to, Orion's belt and so forth. Build them. You got all the technology. You got the, equipment. You're more advanced than the past. Yeah. So build one. Now they can't. Not even their strongest crane can lift up just one block that has gone into those pyramids being built there. And they call it pyramid. It's a Greek word. It means fire in the middle. But it's not. It wasn't called a pyramid, okay? You're dealing with per-neter. You're dealing with a house of energy, okay? So pyramid or pyra means fire, and mid in the midst or in the middle. And actually, pyra is where you get the word pirates from. Anyway, I'll go into some of this and stuff, but in a minute. But I'm going to play you this thing now because I'm setting this thing up for you to understand how certain things that you find today, how it came to be, Okay, and then I'm going to, after I play this, then I'm going to play some music and stuff. I'm going to break down that a little bit. Then I'm going to play another video for you to hear, audio, which is full moon. All right, the full moon, this June full moon. Now, be aware that we are entering into this higher frequency where we're entering into the summer solstice. Okay, so the summer solstice is where you got the longest day and the shortest night, and we're heading into that. And remember, we are already halfway through through 2019. Halfway. Yeah, it's like it just the year just began a couple months ago. All right, but we're already halfway in there. So we're moving into some of the higher frequencies, and there are things that have been experienced. I've been experiencing various things, and a lot of people be experiencing these energies. But if you don't have a broader context in order to fit what's been going on and your experiences that you've been having, the emotions coming up, the mental, based on the mental shift now, shift in focus, and you know, if you're going to have to make a mental shift in your focus, there's going to be certain emotions that's going to be coming up to be, you know, to be released. All right, let go to support this new focus you're entering into. So last 2 weeks ago we had new moon in Gemini, and yesterday we now had the full moon in Sagittarius. Hiya. All right, so I'm gonna. And I'm going. So all of this, basically, what I'm touching on, right, is to understand how your reality has been manufactured, and what is happening now to enable you to break free from this manufactured reality, so you don't continue perpetuating it. And this manufactured reality was constructed to where you're dealing with. There was a time where, obviously, when I was talking about previous incarnations or previous civilizations, there was a higher frequency on the planet, which is where the consciousness of the collective and individuals, it was obvious that it was higher, because you're seeing the kind of creativity that's being left behind, and you're seeing the kind of a strategic and precision in these creations, in these designs. And when you're dealing with these megaliths, for example, like pyramids, if we're going to use the term pyramid or the house of energies, you're dealing with higher frequency. You're dealing with higher consciousness. Now, there was a time on the planet when the frequency was higher, okay? And what we're having now, or what then took place, is a drop in frequency, okay? Now, when people talk about what happened to these civilizations in the past, and what happened to the, you know, why did all the ancient kingdoms of African kingdoms and empires, what happened, and various things around the world, other civilizations. Well, there was a drop in frequency. And remember, as I said, that everything in existence, okay, in existence is defined by vibrational frequencies of consciousness. You know, this is very important to understand. To be able to get all of this. So what has happened is a drop in the frequency, and you hear this term 3D, right? Third dimension, okay? Well, I'm going to play something now, and I will continue to expound after you listen to this. So sit back, tune in, and this is on this British talk show named Roland Martin Unfiltered, okay? And there's this woman, she's the AU, African Union Ambassador. I'm not recalling her name at the moment, because it would be good for if anybody who wants to, what's the word, go and do some of their own research further on this, okay? But this is going to help you see some things. Those of you who have not done this research to know for yourself already. So without further ado, I'm going to start the first video. So just tune in to this, okay? This is AU Ambassador, and she's speaking to the U.S. And my gosh, she does give a masterful history lesson dissecting the legacy of colonization. So listen to this.
You want to support Roller Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roller Martin Unfiltered. By going to rollermartinunfiltered.com, you can make this possible. All right, folks. This is the year of return, 400 years in August, when 20-odd Africans first arrived on the shores of Virginia. And today, I attended the media announcement of HBCU Africa Homecoming. And what this is connecting HBCUs with the continent. And so we covered the whole event. After we finish today's show, we're going to live stream that whole event so you can see all the different comments that folks had to make there. But I have to speak to this. There was a sister who was the ambassador of the African mission here. And she opened this thing up, and I really want you to hear what she has to say, because she makes a direct connection between what the colonizers did to the continent in 1884 to also what is happening today in terms of this whole dysfunction that exists with Africa, but also with those of us who our ancestors come from the motherland. And so I want to play this for you, which is an excerpt from what she had to say. Then we're going to chat with it about our panel. I really think you're going to be blown away about what she has to say. Go right ahead.
We were way ahead of them in our civilization. They set out to destroy us. And Berlin Conference put the nail on that coffin. So they gave Djibouti the same sovereignty as the United States. They gave Burundi the same sovereignty as China. They gave Togo. You see, the EU realizes individual little countries, they can't survive on the world stage. So they come together as the European Union. Now picture this now. So they cut up this Africa into the tiny little countries, small economies that could never survive on their own, but gave them the same sovereignty as the big boys. So that way, when the little bitty countries go to the world stage for the purposes of development and discussing trade, they're wannabe boxers who are being thrown into the heavyweight boxing ring every day. How do you put China in the same boxing ring with Eswatini? Eswatini has 1.2 million people. China has 1.4 billion people. And you put them on the same stage and say, go at it, negotiate. Are you with me? Yes. This is insanity of the highest order. How have we allowed this carnage to go on? When Eswatini is thrown in the same boxing ring with China and Eswatini collapses before Eswatini even gets on the stage, the world says, well, Eswatini, what's wrong with you? Why can't you take care of your people? Well, China came in and said, Eswatini, give me all your gold or else. And if Eswatini does not agree, they just go on next door to Lesotho and give Lesotho an extra $1. And if Lesotho doesn't take it, they just jump on to Togo, Central African Republic. It was all by design. 1884. They did something else in addition to chopping us up. They also set out to make the African believe that everything African was bad and undesirable, and everything Western, particularly French and British, was more desirable. We call that the legacy of colonization. Prior to that, they had started long working on the slaves. Make them think everything about them, forget anything about Africa. Where you come from is a horrible place, diseased and dying people, constantly at war with themselves, uncivilized. Cut out any communications with them. You need to just know what we tell you. And we call that the legacy of slavery. So that's where you look at where we are today. 135 years later, a system that was put in place to see to it that Africa and her children are forever defeated, that Africa is forever exploited, remains in place today, alive and well. And we sit here and we ask ourselves, why isn't Africa moving forward? Why does Africa continue to be taken advantage of? Well, I'll tell you why, very simply. Until Africa comes together as a continent speaking with one voice, one continent, one people, nothing, and I repeat, nothing is gonna change. As individual little African countries, we are wannabe boxers. We will never make it fighting against the heavyweights. We must speak with one voice. Yeah. And this is exactly what our Pan-African leaders wanted to see happen in 1963 when they came together in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. They clearly stated that Africa for the Africans at home and abroad, and that African Union was now. They said Africa must speak with one voice. It is the only way for Africa to take its rightful place on the world stage. Sadly, when they went to Addis Ababa in 1963, they were divided. We had two factions, the Casablanca group and the Monrovia group. The Casablanca group were saying Africa for the Africans at home and abroad, and African Union now. This was Ghana, Guinea, Mali, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. Only 7. The other 25 of the 32 who attended were the Monrovia group. They were the nationalists. They said, let's go slow. Let's kind of wait on this Pan-African thing. 55 years later, 56 this year, we're still going slow. As if it wasn't bad enough that we were divided up into the tiny little countries that we are today. The gift that Berlin Conference gave us. One other thing that France did between 1958 and 1961 in the name of giving us our independence as African countries. France forced the Francophone, and I hate that terminology. There is no such thing as Francophone, Anglophone. They made it up. But for the purposes of communication, I will use that. 14 of those countries, they said, in order for you to get your independence from us, you must sign this document. You thought they could have found a better name for the document. The document was called the Pact for the Continuation. I repeat, the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. We are talking about giving you independence, but sign this pact for the continuation of colonization in a different format. And I'm going to highlight some of those issues that they said you must agree to if you are going to be independent. Hello. Maybe we need to redefine the meaning of independence for the French. First, France said, you see, you monkeys, you don't know how to manage your money. We're going to demand that you deposit 85% of your bank reserves with the French Ministry of Finance. Under the French Central Bank, under the control of the French Minister of Finance. France is then going to take your 85% bank deposits from each and every one of you. Deposit those funds in the French stock market under the French name. And you may or may not know the returns. Today, as we speak, the latest figures are saying for every 14 billion that France invests in the stock market from Africa, they are realizing upwards of 300 billion in return. Every year, year in, year out, because of these deposits from the African countries, France is taking out of Africa over $500 billion. Now figure it out. For every 14 billion, the returns on the investment are over 300 billion, and they are taking over 500 billion. So in actuality, France is taking out of Africa trillions of dollars year in and year out from us poor people, Africans. Back to the pact. So should you want to access some of your money that you have deposited with France, you have to submit your country's financial returns. And if approved, you get to get it as a loan. You can only access up to 20% of your money year in, year out as a loan at commercial interest rates. Your own money. As if that was not enough. They said all your minerals discovered, yet to be discovered, all your oil discovered, yet to be discovered. France and French companies have the first right of refusal. If there's anything left over that the French companies do not want, your people might have. To this day. They said you will only use the currency that we created for you because you're special Africans. We call it the CFA. There was the Central African CFA and the Western African CFA, same animal. And that France is the only one that can print it for you. 1958. Fast forward. They're still printing it for us. And if you start misbehaving, they just stop printing your money. And your country's in trouble. They also said your language of instruction shall be French, whether you like it or not. That France will have military presence in your country. That your military can only be trained by France. That you can only buy military equipment from France. That you cannot have any military alliance with your neighbor. And that in the event of war, your allegiance is only to France. And furthermore, because they have military presence in your country, they can invade you without notice should they feel that the interests of France in your country are being violated.
Teach, sister, teach. Speak on, sister.
Fast forward, 2019, nothing has changed. The same people who have the audacity to tell us that we are poor countries, they are taking trillions out of Africa every year. And what is the African doing? Like an obedient, programmed black man, we just give in. We know the facts, but we just do nothing about it. Now, you have to say some of the fears are real, because the France that has sold you inferior equipment to theirs, France that has trained your military to be inferior to their military, they are now in your country. They can invade you. They have the permission to do so. They can destabilize you. And then one might say, why is it that African leaders haven't done anything about this deplorable situation? Well, let me tell you, my brother and sister, they have tried. Documented to this day, 22 coups where leaders were assassinated. France had something to do with it. The first 7, when they decided they were pulling out of the CFA and that they're going to print their own money, they were assassinated. Every time an African leader has tried to do what's best for their country, they were assassinated. Majority of them aided by France. It's a known fact. And then others, they were just mercenaries who felt that when there was a natural resource discovered in one country, they wanted to create a coup. So while the country is thrown into a civil war, they're siphoning the natural resource. We know of one particular story that had we not known about it, it would have been, oh, there we go again, the Africans. In about 25 years ago, a group of young, rich, white kids were having fun in Cape Town. They found out that there was oil in Equatorial Guinea that had just been discovered, and they wanted it. So they set out a plan to have a coup in Equatorial Guinea. So while the Guineans are busy fighting a civil war, they will be siphoning the oil. But they made one mistake. There were 2 planes. One was to leave South Africa, stop in Zimbabwe, pick up more ammunition on their way to hunt in Equatorial Guinea. Another plane was taking off in the Caribbean that had this puppet diaspora who was supposed to be the next president. Mugabe wondered why such young people needed such powerful ammunition to go hunt in Equatorial Guinea. In doing his research further, he found out that this was a coup in the making. He allowed them to land in Zimbabwe. They loaded their plane, and just before takeoff, they were all arrested. The ringleader of that group was none other than the son of the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Margaret Thatcher. She had to fly to Zimbabwe and paid handsomely to get her son out. The last one of those prisoners left Zimbabwe about 6-7 years ago. Had these young people succeeded, it would have been another coup. There you go, the Africans again. Such, my brothers and sisters, is the story of your Africa. They don't do coups anymore. They simply create instability. So when you hear of an instability in an African country, ask yourself, what is really going on? Because what they are telling you is really going on is just a shiny object. The real issue is over here. And you need to stop before you start being used as an instrument of your own self-destruction.
She's did it. That is so powerful, and it's so true. I spent a lot of time on the continent, and it is beyond disturbing to see the after effects of the reality of the exploitation that can.
Okay, I've just paused it a second there now. So that was this sister who was breaking down all of this history. Okay, and now there's a panel on this show, which is Ronald Martin's show, and you've got various sisters on this panel, and they're now, giving their comments upon that clip that was just played, okay? And so I'm going to continue play this, but just checking that you're following this, okay? This woman just broke down the history through the Berlin Conference back in 1884 to how you see how many people look at what they call the continent of Africa today, and how all of those countries in Africa came about. They were colonized. They were not even, when I say colonized, basically before colonization, you had a continent, right? What you call nowadays Africa. Okay, now that was a continent, and there was no countries on that continent. What existed on the continent before the colonization was kingdoms and empires, okay? Kingdoms and empires. And you had, upon African continent, there is a diversity of people. Diversity, okay? So for you to have kingdoms and empires, it means that they had a system that was able to develop such high-level civilizations with such a diversity of people that basically transcended the idea of what people will call democracy today. For you to kind of, be able to operate, to build such, high civilizations, kingdoms, you hear me, not countries, kingdoms and empires, okay, were in that continent, okay? So then you're being told in history class how people on the continent of Africa, after the colonization now, and after the Berlin Conference in 1884, which planned to carve up the place like a cake, right? You're told in history, black people are told, or even the word black that didn't even come around until before the 14th, 15th century. People weren't using color to define who they are or judge people, okay? So what you end up having is that colonization and its propaganda began to pump lies about the continent, okay, and the people there, okay? And you're hearing about they're just running around butt naked, in the Serengeti, living in huts, and that is the propaganda being told to the West for people to believe erroneous things about other people across the water that they don't even know, okay? And then you're being taught in history about yourself colonial propaganda, right? That this idea was uncivilized and primitive and, all of that type of stuff. Now, whatever you believe shapes your perception of yourself. And that perception of yourself also will cause the thoughts and the feelings associated to that perception based upon what you believe to now become the energy that you are resonating on. And because a lot of people are unconscious of the fact that you're not flesh, blood, and bone, okay? You're actually vibrational beings, and you communicate with the universe through resonance, okay? What you put out is what comes back, okay? But because you're dropping down everybody's consciousness in a manufactured reality in order to support some material lust, gain, greed, accumulation, okay? And you cannot capitalize on what you're using to build up your own selves at the expense of everybody else without developing a forced narrative for other people to believe in order to support that forced reality, okay? Which is being manufactured, all right? So this is where I'm coming from with this. I'm not getting into the political stuff on it in that way because I don't want to stay just in the mental. I'm taking this deeper, okay? Understanding how, even when you're dealing with identities, even when you're dealing with identity, I mean, if you look up the names of the country in Africa, right, that was given these names that you have today, and people are calling themselves what they call themselves, and what people call themselves, this is also what they're usually using as their identity. So when you go and look at these words, I mean, Senegal is related to a boat and is connected to a river, okay? Just to kind of simplify this stuff. As I said sometime before, Cameroon just means red, and that's related to the Portuguese finding a whole heap of shrimps along the coastline. When you're dealing with the word Ghana, it actually means warrior king, and that's one of the old empires, Ashanti, Akan, you know what I mean? Those old empires that, has, is there as a country, but it's still under colonization, and those kings and so-called warrior kings end up becoming, compromised by the colonial so-called quote-unquote powers, okay? And you got Djibouti, you know what I mean? Which just means plateau or upland, okay? The names, and it goes on, okay? It goes on, all right? With all the names you have where people get all proud about their nationality, the nation I come from, my country, my mother country, and they call themselves these names which are manufactured labels, right? So you're not even really identifying with really the essence of who you is. You're identifying with some land, plateau, a river, a color, based upon, the species of shrimp along a coastline that the Portuguese found profitable to capitalize on, you know what I mean? And you're seeing what France has done. I mean, look, you got your story about Napoleon, and Napoleon, what's this whole thing about using a cannon to try to blow off the nose of the Sphinx in order to distort the actual appearance of the Sphinx, that's what they call it, the Sphinx, in order to try to hide the identities of those who were involved in building that. You even got the word Egypt, which is in North Africa, which just means Egyptos, which is a Greek word, which is, as I said before, that's pertaining to one of the 42 nomes, okay, which are cities, okay, ancient cities. And it was a city that Ptolemy sacked, and it was called Hakepata, which was the Het House Hakep Spirit of Ptah, okay? So it's the house of the living spirit of Ptah. And that got sacked under the Alexander, under the command of Ptolemy, and you get the name of that region changed to Egyptus, okay? So the Greeks were in there for, their period of time, okay? And then the Arabs came in and invaded that, okay? And then now you got the word Egypt, all right, how it's derived in English, and you've got people who are Arabs claiming that they are the original people of that region. Now, it's all being manufactured, y'all. It's not real. It's not real. And then even though there's no pictures and statues in the original, that look like the people in what you call Egypt today, but they will, if any Nubian person was to identify with that region as this is, part of our, Africa, ancient Africa, you get these Egyptians that would say that these Egyptians that would say that you're trying to steal their culture. All right, nobody in there in them original reliefs. I'm not talking about the stuff they copied and try to fabricate to change the way things originally looked. Okay, I'm talking about original reliefs, the papyruses where you get paper from. The word paper come from papyrus. You're none of them people look like you. That's basically what I'm saying. Okay, but yet it's called tying into the vine, and some people use the term culture vultures. You know what I mean? So it's a fabrication. You're fabricating an identity that isn't actually what you is, and you're taking on somebody else's thing and making that to be you. But then you denigrate these other people and create a false narrative about them, so you can export that into the minds of people around the world and also pump that into the people themselves. So you're manipulating people's perception, okay? You're manipulating how people are perceiving themselves and manipulating how others are perceiving other people, okay? All manufactured just to serve material greed and gain, right? So just putting it in this context, what's going on here, yeah? All right? So I'm going to play a little bit more about what these sisters have to say and what they say they've observed. And anybody who's gone to the continent, it is, people are going to have to talk about their own direct experience still. But anyway, I'm going to continue this, and then I'm going to come back and break down certain things a bit more. And then I'm going to play some music. And then I'm going to go for another video, which is different to this, okay? Is related to the full moon in Sagittarius. So bear with me. Now, continue tuning in. Listen to this.
Continues to go on there. And I am so happy that she had the opportunity, that you got the opportunity to capture her, breaking that down. Because one thing I can say that I think is important that African Americans understand is that white supremacy is stunningly consistent. I don't care where it appears on this planet. If it appears in the form of colonization of the motherland, if it appears in the form of slavery, white Jim Crow, and oppression here in America, if it appears in the form of oppression of our brothers and sisters in South America, it is stunningly consistent. They utilize the same methods everywhere. Killing our leaders, exploiting us economically, it is the same. And so when we try to segregate ourselves and say that as African Americans, our experiences are way different, let me just say, we do have a distinct culture, but we have a very similar history and a very similar contemporary reality when it comes to dealing with the after effects of supposed white supremacy.
So Shannon, what this initiative is that, first of all, there were a number of African leaders that were educated at HBCUs, Kwame Nkrumah, and many others, of course, who led Ghana, and the first prime minister was educated HBCUs. And so what they're trying to do is link many of those countries on the continent to HBCUs. Morgan State's president, Dr. David Wilson, talked about them establishing a footprint there as well. And they'll be taking a trip there August 1st through the 10th and trying to do more. And so it's called the HBCU Africa Homecoming. Today was their media launch. Go ahead.
Seeing this and hearing this, it's heartbreaking, to understand that this has been going on from back then to a little bit further, to now, and it's not something that I would hazard a guess that many African Americans are aware of. Not in the full detail.
And a matter of fact, I made a point when I stood up there. I said probably if you asked 98% of black folks about the 1884 Berlin Conference, they would have no idea what you're talking about.
99.9.
So we get so wrapped up in our struggles here, we forget that there are similar struggles that really are not as dissimilar as people would like to say, that are going on in all other parts of the world, specifically Africa and South America.
And Teresa, what's important here is the ability to be able to connect, and that is to connect African Americans with the continent when you talk about the natural alliance is there, but you got to have folks who hook it together. Reverend Leon Sullivan, of course, the late Leon Sullivan, he did this for many years out of Philadelphia, having the annual conferences there as well. And it's interesting because one year they were going to have one of the annual conferences there, and I had these folks who, matter of fact, I probably still have the emails around here somewhere, and I was one of the folks they were trying to invite, and I couldn't go, but they were sitting here blowing me up. No, you shouldn't go because this particular leader here, what they have done, in terms of how corrupt they are, and I'm sitting there going, you can say that about a whole lot of folks here as well.
Heck yeah.
And the reality is they need our help. We need their help as well. So why would we not work together?
We should work together. And I think that connectability aspect that you're talking about from the U.S. to Africa, we can't just vacation to our motherland. We have to make sure that institutions, elected officials, those community leaders and those influencers are now reaching back and saying, listen, I don't want to just vacation in Ghana. I want to actually learn and educate the next generation, the current generation, and see how we can better communicate, how we can better help them out of their struggle. Because again, what's lacking in a lot of these public and charter schools is the education of blackness. And so without that, without not knowing where white supremacy comes from, where civil disruption or disobedience is coming from, it's coming from a pattern long-standing before we even came to today and figured out, these are actual titles. No, this has existed since the 1800s. So I think that is a great initiative that the HBCU wants to do. And also, I don't want to just tag it at HBCUs. I want to look at private institutions. The one who has the millions, the University of Pennsylvania's, the Harvards, the Yale Laws, and see outside of the innovation and technology, are they willing to actually go back and want to help people more and more.
And again, actually, it's Reverend Leon Sullivan. My apologies. Lewis Sullivan, of course, was a brother who was Secretary of Health and Human Services under President George W. Bush, and who led Morehouse School of Medicine. Reverend Leon Sullivan. And it was like 7 years ago when they had the Southern Summit, and it was Equatorial Guinea. And these folks, Human Rights Watch, were saying, "Oh no."
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna stop this because he's kind of going into something else and so forth. So I'm stopping this now. Okay, so that's that. Okay, and you see, I'm starting this with because it's where I'm going with all of this this evening. So basically, what I'm showing you here, what you're hearing here now, is how many people's lives have been manufactured, okay? You're dealing with a separation, right? You're dealing with an alien invasion, a colonization. You're dealing with identities, like, for example, the name Algeria. The name Algeria just means islands, okay? You've got Angola, yeah? Which apparently comes from the title Nagola, and it was held by a king, according to this kind of information. It was held by a king, and Ndongo, and tributary of a king of Congo. Okay, then you have Benin, and it's named after a body of water in which the country lies. Yeah, the Bight of Benin. Okay, then you have Botswana. Comes from Taswana, and an ethnic group making 71.6% of its population. It literally means the place where Twanas lives. Huh? You got Burkina Faso, means the land of upright people. Right? And the name in their own language adopted after Thomas Sankara's revolution. Then you got Burundi, comes from the kingdom of Burundi, ruled by Mwamis kings before colonial times. Then you got the Cameroons. Yeah, and as I already told you about that, comes from the name the Portuguese explorers gave to the sea or the area, Rio de Camaros, river of prawns. Yeah, that's basically what it is, because the prawns gave the river a red color. Okay, so, and then you got Cape Verde, comes from Verde Green, the name of Portuguese explorers, gave to one of the uninhabited islands in 1444, right? Yeah, means green. Yeah, Verde means green. Anyway, you got Central African Republic, or Centrafrica, means just that, a republic in Central Africa. Then you got Chad, comes from the Lake Chad. Conakry, yeah, name meaning big space of water. You got a Comoros. Comoros comes from Kamar, Arabic for moon. Yeah, you got Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. Comes from their huge herds of elephants and ivory trade flourishing at the colonial time, right? Coast of elephants, basically Ivory Coast. Yeah, Congo comes from the Kingdom of Congo, right? Congo, Baza, Angola, and democratic and well-organized kingdom destroyed by colonization. You got Djibouti, and I told you about that already. Comes from a Somali expression, Djibouti, and the fall of Ogre or Gabuti, a set of baskets, right? And in another definition, it says it's plateau or plains, upper land. Then you got Guinea, comes from an English gold coin, yeah, the New Guinea. You remember that? Maybe some of you, the guinea, yeah? A guinea was some money, yeah? And basically it was gold coin issued in 1663 to 1813, using gold from Western Africa. And then you got Eritrea, comes from the Italian form of the Greek name Erythrea, meaning red land, okay? Then you got Ethiopia, comes from the Greeks. Well, so they say, but it's Ethiopia. And there was a time when the whole continent was named Ethiopia. It wasn't called Africa, okay? So you got from Ethiopia's charred complexion, they say. From Aethios, I burn, up's face. So basically trying to say burnt face, complexion, you know what I mean? Because of the dark skin, right? Then you got Gabon, comes from Gaboi, Portuguese again, for cloak, which is roughly the shape of the ostery of the Camu River by Libreville. Now you got Gambia, comes from Gambura, meaning place of the king. It said about Ghana means warrior king. I told you that before, and was the title according to the kings of the medieval West African Empire. Then you had Kenya, comes from Kikuyu, Embu, and Akamba, names of Mount Kenya. Yeah, Karinyaga, yeah, Karinya, and Kenya. So it's a mountain, okay? Mount Kenya, right? Mount Karinyaga. Okay, it's a mountain. So you go, Lesotho translates roughly into the land of the people who speak, Sotho, a Bantu language, yeah, spoken in southern Africa, right? So that's Lesotho. And then you got Liberia, comes from the Latin liberaya, yeah, the country of the free, yeah, liberation, see, Liberia, right? Then you got Libya, comes from the historical name for Northwest Africa, yeah, from Greek lebu, yeah? Then you got Madagascar, yeah? Somewhere where my folks from. Comes from the Malagasy language. The island of Madagascar is called Madagascara, yeah? So, and then you got Malawi. Comes from Chichewa, Maliwi. Flames, means flames after the appearance of the sunrise over the Lake Malawi, or from Maravi, an early Malawi tribe. Then you got the Mali, comes from the Mandinka, who called their homeland Manden, and called their homeland Manden. Yeah, man, I don't know if I want to go through this whole list, y'all, because the whole heap of them and so forth. I think you're getting a point that I'm trying to make here, because you got Niger, right? Comes from Tereg, named for Niger River. Igri, Nigrewen, used along the middle reaches of the river around Timbuktu. Nigeria was taken from Niger River running through the country. Right? Tuaregas named Nigeria too. Now, you also got Nigeria, where you got Nigeria come from as well. Yeah. You got Rwanda. I know it comes from the kingdom of Rwanda. So you got basic Senegal, comes from the Wolof phrase, Sandugal, which means our canoe. Our canoe. All right. And it goes on. It goes on. I mean, Swaziland, as well as its people, are named after the 19th century king Mswati and the Lamine clan, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it goes on. Tanzania comes from the names of the two states of Tanganyika and Zanzibar that united in 1964. Togo comes from Togodo, the other shore. You know what I mean? That's what it means. So I can keep going on. But the point being here is that apart from a few of them, most of these languages, most of these names and titles that you would call, I mean, you could go into other, like the islands, yeah, as well, okay? But all of these are manufactured words, manufactured titles. And then you identify yourself with those titles. And what you're identifying with ain't even you. You see? So I'm telling you that this is why I'm talking about manufactured reality, because people end up fighting for defending certain terms, labels, even this black thing. I mean, I mean, there's some stuff on there that after the woman was talking, and you got this little panel of these sisters saying what they're saying. I mean, you can see there was, well, if you could see it yourself, you would notice that this, look, man, just they don't even really know how to address this, because they were never taught none of this stuff, and these are big women. So what it is like you got all of that miseducation, right? And then you're gonna hear something you never heard before, right? I mean, I knew about this Berlin conference, because the thing is, if you do your research from when you're younger, because you're searching for answers to your questions, because you're not getting taught what you want to know in school, all right? So you end up, your greatest learning comes out of school, when you leave school, yeah? And if you still got that fire burning, then you will, it'll direct you into places where you will get to know all of this stuff, all right? But the thing is that it's not taught, and it's not going to be presented in the mainstream, okay? So what I'm saying is that the realities many people have are tailor-made by an invading force, someone external, all right? And you set up a structure in a country that only works for your best interest, but it doesn't work for the people themselves, okay? So then people turn around and think, oh, but, they believe that all the unrest and all the stuff going on in Africa or going on in other parts of the world where you got people of color or indigenous people, okay? A lot of people believe all of this narrative. And all this narrative provides is just fuel to perpetuate a fictitious reality, a man-made reality. Now, as I stated earlier, right, that everything in existence is defined by vibrational frequencies of consciousness, okay? So basically, your consciousness now, when that's being manipulated, you're going to be creating things unconscious to you if you don't know who you are, because you're already buying into. I mean, look, children are going to be being born into these societies and cultures, okay? And the souls of these youths, they're being conditioned to accept these things, take all these things on. And this is affecting their consciousness, their awareness of who they are. The narratives that you internalize, which are lies about who you are, become true because you manifest them, okay? If you believe them, all right? Because it's about, I said, everything in existence and has been known from antiquity, yeah? Yeah, because the true nature of reality is not what you're being taught now. You're being taught about physicality, and that's it. Yeah. What you can't see, or the non-physical reality, is spooky, unknown stuff to be projected all your fears upon. Okay, and then you got a Western perspective of the end, finality, and then you got this interpretation of other cultures from a materialistic mind that then projects materialistic limited interpretations on what you think the culture you're there looking at. You're trying to define these cultures by your limited material thinking. So you distort the meaning of what was really going on in these ancient systems and in the consciousness of of ancient people. All right. And we know that the things in science that is now being revealed, going in where certain science is going in the right direction now, when you're dealing with heart math is letting you know about the reality of the heart is it's a precognitive, it's conscious, it knows way before the brain, your CPU unit, your central processing unit, can process the information being received, okay? The heart picks up and knows it all. Now the intuitive nature of the heart, you know what I mean? All of this, the heart also represents the source or the core, where the word courage comes from, which is associated with the heart. It's a Latin word that means core, okay? Or center or source, all right? So you've got this interpretation of things now being with instruments, all right, the scientific instruments that now can validate to the intellect that, oh my gosh, the unseen is real, and various things that was known in antiquity knew before, but the modern day that's supposed to be more advanced than previous, the primitive, in the past, only just catching up to this type of info, and then they make out like they're telling you something new. But people of indigenous people of ancient cultures knew all of this before, okay? But all of that gets suppressed, all of that gets a lid put on it, and then you get this Western left brain intellectual domination and manipulation. But you're manipulating people's consciousness, okay? Now, people will say, well, how did this happen though? I mean, boy, we had kingdoms and all of this and that. And I'm not gonna talk on a usual. Usually you get, when you start to talk about Africa, and we're going to talk about race, and we're going to talk about identity and ethnicity, usually it kind of gets limited to what was done in the past, and who did this to us, and all of that. And I'm not talking about it on that level. I'm trying to make you realize that the reality many people, in the world are dealing with is a manufactured one. This is what I'm saying. It's been a Western cultivated, manufactured, planned, organized, artificial reality. Okay? That suits the Western paradigm, okay? At the expense of everyone else, okay, who does not fall within the bracket of Western privileges, okay? Even Western people, Westerners, they've been lied to. They've been given a narrative about other people and how they are by the very colonizers who are going to lie to you, so you won't realize yourself that actually you're dealing with robbers, thieves, you're dealing with murderers and rapists and thieves, that you put up on pedestals and say, wow, look at these great people. That's the lies they're giving to Western folk. You don't know what the heck these folk did. You know what I'm saying? And then you're born into maybe benefiting from all of that type of wealth, and you ignorant to really the true, the truth behind that. So because you now being lied to, Western folks being lied to, they then perpetuate that ignorance. You see what I'm saying? Of what they've been told about other people. And then you see what's happening. You end up enforcing an artificial reality, that is being constructed by men, okay, at the expense of everybody else. And now you're living in a nightmare, okay? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't understand, because they haven't gone into, if you're going to do archaeology, you cannot just stay on the surface to decipher what happened in the, prehistory. You got to start doing some digging. You see what I'm saying? You got to move from the surface, superficial, to enter into the depth, beyond, in order to extract or contact, what is buried, beneath, in order to begin to draw that up to the surface, to then now get some insight to how things came to be the way they are, okay? Or the background, to understand how something is the way it is, that it appears. What constructed it, what developed it. You see what I mean? The background of it. Just like everybody's got a background, okay? That make them the way, who you're seeing presented now to you as, themselves, so to speak. They got a background. So the point I'm making is all of this is manufactured, okay? And because folk don't correlate the power of your consciousness, because you're not going to be taught about the reality of yourself by people who need you to be dumb, okay? Dumbed down. To who you really are. So you think in a way that feeds the manufactured machine of colonialism, okay? So you then get people thinking there's war torn, all these people just can't get on with each other. Look what's going on. Look at them. They're always freaking fighting. They're always this. Yeah, you're going to believe that crap. And then you don't understand that all of that civil war and crap, stuff that's going on, is being manufactured, okay? I mean, look, in one of the things that the woman was saying, she said Mark Thatcher, Margaret Thatcher's son, who used this. Margaret Thatcher was a prime minister of this country some decades ago, right? And her son, and I think I remember when that did come out in the news, but the way they quashed it, you wouldn't really fully get the grasp of really the significance and the implications of really what happened there. But it was her son that was staging a coup. Right? To undermine the, oh, gee, man. You know what I mean? The people in the country. And he had black military with all of this what you call, heavy artillery and all of that stuff. And it was Mugabe that thought something's a bit strange on this. Why are you gonna have such heavy artillery if you're just hunting game? Yeah, meaning, you're just going there hunting some animals, shooting down some game. Yeah. When that weren't the real deal, what they were doing. They were there to stage a coup, and then they got found out and they were arrested at the airport. But I'm trying to tell you, that was Mark Thatcher's son. Yeah, a European dude, a son of a prime minister, England, Britain. Yeah, prime minister was involved in all of that stuff. Okay, so I'm telling you, this stuff is very manufactured. Okay, it's manufactured. This is not God. So-called God, quote unquote God. This is not a godly design. It's man-made shit. Okay? So now, I'm going to go deeper into this now. What happens here is that folk will say, but how did this happen? And this term, the word used, fall. How did we fall? Why did ancient civilization or ancient kingdoms fall? Now think about this. When you're talking about a fall, it'd be better to understand that you're not dealing with a physical, like you fell over, all right? Bust your lip. We're talking about a drop in vibrational frequencies, okay? In consciousness, right? Stuff happened on this planet to drop the frequencies that was actually that was higher than what you got now. And what you call this frequency is called 3D, right? Now, 3D drops you in a state of consciousness that has you in a fear-based, you end up being in a fear-based mindset. Okay? 3D. And in 3D, you mistake love. Basically, you're mistaking fear for love in 3D. Now, 3D keeps you only focusing on the physical and the materialness, what you can see, smell, hear, and touch. You don't have any awareness that there is existence beyond the physical dimension. And if you notice in the Western science, mainstream science, and what's been going on for centuries, they're very material. Okay? When now with all of this stuff coming out now with ancient knowledge that has been forgotten, that is emerging from within folk and also being revealed, and now you got this information coming out on certain platforms like, social media, radio, YouTube, that type of thing, internet. You're now hearing things that would have been more easily subdued and covered over before. Now you're hearing, certain ancient knowledge, that's been forgotten. And the ancient knowledge that's also within oneself that has been forgotten, but now it's becoming remembered. You're remembering things without realizing, how do I know this? Yeah. When we start to go deep into quantum physics and, consciousness and, the universe and its origins of life and all of that business, there is forgotten knowledge that is rising up from within individuals that is coming online. Okay. Because there's more to you than just this flesh, blood, and bone. Always has been. And it was never really perceived as just physical. And it would never been called human. That's a mainstream science propaganda thing to keep you identified with material, lower plane, 3D, fear-based consciousness. Yep. And when you have something repeated to you over and over and over again, like an idea, then it becomes a belief. And now that belief becomes the structure you use to structure your individual consciousness to shape your perception. And the way you perceive yourself is the way you will experience yourself in reality based upon what you're creating. And then you're told that the creative force is outside of you. You know what I mean? And then the thing is that, but hang on, even in science today is telling, showing you that your thoughts and feelings are creative. Your consciousness is creative energy. So that would mean that if that's the case, then your consciousness is the creator. Okay? Not no mythical, biblical, man-made, manufactured idea of looking for something outside of yourself and then constructing some statue or figure or image for you to focus your attention upon to then empower this thing with stuff it doesn't have. You see what I'm saying? Based upon what you're believing. Okay? All of it's being manufactured, people. It's being manufactured. And this stuff is manufactured. People know that some of this stuff that they've been believing for, just been believing for centuries, it don't make no sense. But you end up having blind faith and belief in that stuff. It's like just believing something because you've been having it drilled in you for so repetitively. And then your parents or, you got the folks that you're born into, they end up reinforcing certain enslaving and limiting ideas and beliefs into you, okay? Because they have not necessarily looked into themselves to wake up. So they're still sleeping. So if someone's still sleeping, how can they wake you up? Unless you're the one who come in here more awake, not to take in and to accept that program. And then you end up finding yourself, moving away from it, rebelling from it, and go seeking your own, to connect with your own inner truth, that you came in here within your soul, you see? Okay, so I'm going to play a tune. I'll break this up a little bit, but I just want you to understand in the context of why I played that first bit for you to hear, get that little colonization Berlin conference, how you find the continent of Africa today, and it's not just the continent of Africa. You're dealing with islands like Jamaica. You're dealing with islands like, Guyana or Ghana, Grenada or Trinidad, okay, or Barbados, okay. You're dealing with places like, Southern America, okay, South America. All of these are being colonized. All of these being manufactured histories, okay, from a Western colonized viewpoint, okay. So you got people living manufactured realities, identifying with even labels and names to say they are what they call themselves based on the name of their country. And the country, as I said, look at Senegal means my canoe, something like, some things you're identifying with just means something like upland or redland or, a river. You know what I'm saying? Some is linking back to a warrior king, but that's traces of an old kingdom, right? But then, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what the heck are you identifying with? You see what I'm saying? And people will fight for this shit. They will fight. They will, oh my gosh, wars. And then when you talk about civil wars, that's all being orchestrated in order to get people off the land, that those who want to come in and take the resources, tap into the resources that's under their feet. Well, you create unrest, you create civil war, you organize this whole stuff. Remember what I told you about Margaret Thatcher's son, okay? And that's just one of many flipping things. And he got caught. Look at the amount of ones that have not been caught. And then you got people who then believe the narrative. The forced narrative has to support the lie, okay? So now you think people are just warring against one another, and now, they're fighting each other, and then people are being displaced and moved from their land, and you don't realize that and then you get migrants coming in here, You don't understand that there is a government agreements to take a certain amount of people in, I won't even go there because this could get, but that's what's going down. And it's all organized. And it's it's organized to assist those who want to tap into the resources under the land, of the land that's under the feet of the people who occupy that land. They need to disperse the people off that land. They need to get them out of it so they can get in it. You know what I'm saying? Do their stuff and rape it some more. Okay? Now, this is shit going on. And this is coming from a very low base, what you call egocentric material lust. And as I said earlier, I pointed out that the idea that matter is the primordial substance of all creation is a Greek myth, is a Greek lie. And which is why in the West, it seems to value material things as the more you have, of material things, you have more substance. That's what they believe. The more material things you gather, the more substance you have. And this has been the Western paradigm for so long. And now, yeah, holes are cracking in that. And you're sticking a pin in the balloon, okay? To deflate this inflated, egocentric preoccupation of what wants to be the ruler over the world, okay? And it has to be done at the expense of everybody else, just as long as, it fits certain people's interests, like France. Look what France does. And then France has got all this stuff going on over there right now. But then, France were the one going into those ancient tombs, okay? And they were breaking into these vaults and these ancient passageways, and they were dealing with those, taking out the papyruses, the ancient manuscripts, or, and they've been studying the esoteric symbology of all of this stuff, okay? And then you're taking certain monuments, megaliths from other countries, the continent of what you call Africa today, and then you import them, right? Or you export them and import them into places like Europe. You've got obelisks. They call obelisks, which originally means tekanus. They got them all over in this country, when they never originated here. Now, the reason they know about the science of what these megaliths are representing, you don't have a structure just sitting there being erected in order to just say, oh, wow, look how I made that. You know what I mean? Without any rhyme and reason and any deeper purpose behind why the heck you making something so big. Okay? And out of what material? Why that particular material, like granite and so forth, right? So, or limestone. You see, what it is that there are telluric points on the planet, or you could call ley lines. And where these cross, there's a strong amount of energy. And when you're dealing with these megaliths, they were placed at strategic points because they operate like antennas, okay? And they're drawing in energy, okay? And that energy is being permeated into the atmosphere, okay? And all of that also constitutes to the consciousness, yeah? The level of consciousness able to reside, okay? On, in areas and on the planet, okay? Where certain energies, higher energies, are anchored into the planet through these megaliths, okay? And when you're dealing with a country that doesn't have no power in their land, meaning there's no minerals, there's no gold, there's no oil, there's none of them stuff in your own land. So you have to go to other people's lands where there is power in the land, and then you got to rape it, but you got to manipulate the people and mess them up, okay? In order to extract all of that stuff that you need now to empower your barren stuff over where you come from. You see what I'm saying? So this I'm telling you, this is all being manipulation, and it's being manufactured, okay? So now the frequencies have dropped and you're dealing with this 3D stuff. And now the same old ancient megaliths are being used, still used. Like there's this place in France called Mont Saint Michael, but I'm not pronouncing it as the French would say it. But it actually is. It translates to mountain, right? Mount Saint Michael, okay? Michel, yeah, or Michel, Mike, yeah, Mountain of Saint Michel. Now, you can go look it up. It's a big island, a bit of rock, right? And this thing, this basically is transmitting the holy flipping energy, okay? And it's connected to Edfu, a temple in near Giza, in Edfu Temple in Africa, okay? And these telluric points, these are transmitting frequencies, and it's like a web. Like these frequencies, when you touch one, it's like a web. If you touch one part of it, it sends energy throughout, vibrations rippling throughout the whole structure. Okay, so all of these strategic sites, yeah, they are interconnected, and they are transmitting frequencies, and these frequencies are being manipulated to keep everybody in a 3D. But you got this universal cosmic energy is amplifying and coming through now. And this is changing up stuff. So this is where now I go into the part dealing with the full moon in Sagittarius. So I'm going to play some music first. And I'll lift this and take this to another place. So I'm gonna. All right, I will. Um, yeah, I'm thinking what tune to play here. All right, I think what is pertinent here because you see the higher frequency we need to tune into is the love. But you see, 3D is fear, right? And people believe fear is love. And I've told you about this thing already, about when I was chatting about the soul, and really it's the soul that loves, and it's not, love is not what you believe it is. And I was telling you about amor, and how amor is translated from what within Latin, Spanish, and French to mean love. But amor also translates to be the soul. Am is the soul, and ur is light. So amor is the light of the soul, and this is really where we have to tap into, because you see what's going on is that the soul is 5D, all right, and beyond, where your physical body is 3D, right? And I said to you that 3D is fear, parading as love. And right now, you got a lot of people jumping about. They think they're dealing with love. They ain't dealing with no love. They're dealing with fear, separation, okay? Right? Because it's not being generated as... All right, I'm going to go into this a bit more. But what I'm going to do is play... yeah, I'll go play a tune, yeah? And this tune now, if I can get it up. Yeah, I'll get it up. Oh, I can get it up, yeah. It's I think, yeah, it's going into the direction where I'm taking this show. So yeah, without further ado, I should, yeah, this should come up here now. Come on now, come on now. Everything's a little slow. All right, so I'm going to play this for you, all right? And this will be a nice, pleasant interval as I play this track for you. And enjoy, my people, soul brothers and sisters, because this is where I'm going to be taking things now. All right.
Your love
Yeah. Supernatural, y'all. That was Benny King. Supernatural thing. Yeah, supernatural love, extraplanetary, extraordinary, beyond ordinary, beyond the planetary. Yeah. This is the love frequency, which is higher than 3D, y'all. And I've been saying to you that what we've been brought up in, believing is love, is fear. Straight up. Fear is not love. Fear creates separation. Fear creates all that division. Fear creates a lot of pain and problems, okay? Fear shuts down your heart. Fear keeps you in the ego and the dark. You see what I'm saying? Of materialism. Now, the light that shineth in the darkness, but the darkness comprehended not, is the always symbolic of your soul. Now, I said before that you don't have a soul. You have a body, okay? You don't have a soul. You have a mind. However, when I say you don't have a soul, I mean that as to say that, but I said, you don't have a soul. You are the soul. And that's what waking up to yourself actually means, you see. If you say you have a soul, you're just talking about some other thing that you possess, like your body, like your mind, you know what I mean, and the things you occupy and all of that stuff. But you see, to say you have a soul is not knowing who he is. You got to realize you are the soul. I am the soul. And in ancient, and even in the 60s through the 70s, you got, as a people, we would say we're soul people. I mean, soul music came through, hey, for folk to say soul music, it came from, folk who knew they had soul, okay? But there was still a dip in the consciousness there, because you're looking outside of yourself for some Jesus God, up in the sky and singing all your lungs out to this thing in the sky, okay? When you are that, what you're looking for. You see, God is really your soul. And because unless you wake up to know that you are the soul and what the soul is and its nature, because a lot of folk don't understand the nature of what they call in God, quote unquote, God. You're dealing with a biblical, fundamental, Christian or Judaic type of Christian teaching, okay, which is oppressive stuff, okay? It's not, you see, again, as I said, you're dealing with a manufactured reality in order to drop the frequency, keep people in 3D and entrapped within the material dimension, not realizing that there is more and much more beyond this earth plane, and that the universe is teeming with life. And this is where I'm going to get into the next part of this show, where I'm going to be playing for you another video or another, ting. And before that, I'm going to play your next tune. I'm going to play your next tune because I think I'm going to be finishing here around 10:30. So I'm going to play you another tune. Now, this tune here, should I keep it going to where I wanted to be? All right, yeah, all right. I'm going to... Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think I will. All right. Riding high, because actually it's about higher vibrations, and what's going on here now is that what's happening, what's kicking in here is basically whatever vibration you're on is going to be amplified, okay? With this full moon in Sagittarius, and I'm going to play something. A friend of mine thought of me when it popped up to them yesterday, and they said, oh my gosh, I popped up at the same time. And so I'm going to play, I think I'll play it first. Instead of playing another tune, I'll play that tune afterwards. So, okay. So this is now going to be about the June full moon in Sagittarius that we have just had. And you're going to soon see how all of this correlates together. Yeah? And how I'm tying all of this in a different way, because I ain't going to be chatting about this as some victimhood stuff, because that just keeps you all in 3D and not understanding that everything has a purpose, even the rotten crap that seems to happen, without any rhyme or reason, as so people may think or believe. But really, I'm going to be getting into, I'm going to tap into something more here. Just got to find this thing, y'all. This is live, people. So there's no, contrive, already planned stuff. Now, what I'm doing now, I'm going to be playing this thing for you. It's June full moon, powerful tool for truth. Yes. Why is this about? Now, this is about truth. Yeah, I've just told you that. Yeah, you're living in a manufactured reality. Okay. And the thing is, you have more power than we've been ever made to acknowledge. But it keeps you. But what it is, we're being made to look outside, because this is how this manufactured reality keeps itself in place. First, you got to believe in it. And then secondly, you got to be looking outside of yourself to keep feeding it. Okay? Because you think the source of your reality is out there. When no. Yeah, that's just the projector screen or the simulation. Okay? But the actual projector and source of the projection is coming from within you, your consciousness. Because you are a living, breathing transmitter, receiver of cosmic energy, vibrations. Because you see, this is what happens when you have your reality manipulated, and then you being caught up to play along with the false narrative given to you. And I'm talking about everybody in the world. Yeah. If you're under this Western stuff, okay? You got to be real with it. Even Western folk are under the what you call the limitations and the bondage of these forced things, these lies you've been taught. You see, to keep you perpetuating the lie, because you're the creator. It's not outside of you. Like a mirror. You see, a mirror supports you 100% unconditionally. Give it this idea of unconditional love, right? Unconditional support, right? A mirror is symbolic of that unconditional support. You see, a mirror will only reflect back to you, support you now, what you are projecting into it. You see? But the mirror needs you to act first for it to then support you by matching back your reflection of what you're putting out. Okay? So, for example, if you stand in front of a mirror and you pissed off, you sad, miserable face, boo-be-doo, miserable, yeah? Then that mirror will support you 100%, reflecting back that miserable expression, yeah? Now, if you want to change what's being reflected back to you in the mirror, you're the one who's got to make the first move. The mirror's not going to, you can argue, you can shout at the mirror, you can shout at it. It's not going to do anything more than just support what you are projecting into it. So if you're going to change what the mirror reflects to you, you got to be the one that starts with you. So you change your frown into a smile, and then the mirror will support that smile. You see what I'm saying? It will support that new projection, that new resonance you're sending. It will reflect back to you that projection, that reflection, I should say. So, but you have to be the one to make the first move. See what I'm saying? You got to smile first, and then the mirror supports you 100% in what you're now reflecting back into it. So I'm giving that as an analogy, yeah, of how this outer world, this outer simulation will reflect back to you whatever you are vibrationally sending out. And back again, I'm telling you, you got to deal with vibrations. You got to understand yourself in a energetic, conscious life force way. You can't just keep looking at yourself as flesh, blood, and bone. That's the old paradigm. And if you hold on to those old limited perspectives, you will remain in the old limited vibrational frequency, okay, of 3D. Now I'm going to play you this thing. And it's the full moon energy update. Now, I want you to just hear it from somebody else. Now, this woman, I think the reason why I'm playing this is because what she said is resonant. It's resonant because I knew this stuff beforehand. And then what you're experiencing inside of yourself, okay? You experience it first, and then you get confirmation that reflects back to you, what you knew already intuitively through what you were tapping into within yourself already. So that's how you know how truth is lining up. You will always draw back to you what you're vibrating at. So I'll go play this, and I'll be back on the flip side. So this is some important information, and I'm only playing it because I feel this woman is on point. Okay? Take good care. Listen to this.
Hello everyone in Oneness. Thank you so much for watching this video. In Oneness, I'm Jessica Delmar. Welcome to the full moon of June. This is the apex of the energy of June. The energy of June being this energy of amplification and strengthening of whatever vibration you are holding. So this full moon is really powerful in terms of utilizing this amplification of energy within your own reality and whatever you're creating for yourself. This is really a turning point for a lot of people in shifting your focus, shifting your energy, shifting your vibration, shifting the pipeline that you're in, especially if you are currently in those lower vibrations, the 3D pipeline. We spoke about this in the June Ascension Energy video at the beginning of this month, where the energy of this amplification of energy this month of June is really about pushing you into whatever pipeline you have chosen on a soul level. There are two pipelines being presented. It's a fork in the road. There's the 3D or the 5D. Lower vibration or higher vibration, fear or love. And right now, this time is this swirling of energy that is very much pushing a person into, especially because most people are moving into that 5D energy, it's very much pushing people into the 5D energy. Low vibration serves two purposes. Whenever low vibration is presenting itself in your awareness, it's presenting itself for you to, if you're meant to stay in 3D, to fall and anchor more into 3D. If you are meant to shift into 5D, lower vibration being presented in your awareness, first of all, could possibly be a reflection of what you're holding on the inside energetically so that you can transmute and release it, but also in knowing strongly what you do not want, you then are able to tip the scale, swing the pendulum in the opposite direction into strongly what you do want. If you are moving along in your ascension journey, if you're anchoring in those higher vibrations, you're really getting a turbo boost this month of June, especially with this full moon energy, even adding more amplification and turbo boost to the energy that's pushing you, coming from that life force energy, that universal energy, very much pushing you along. It's like the wind is at your back. The cards that came through for this full moon is the Miracles and Abundance card reversed, as well as the Deception card. Now, the Miracles and Abundance card very much is offering the energy of miracles and abundance. It's like this month of June, this full moon is a doorway for you to really anchor in those 5D energies. So miracles, abundance, high vibration, creating a reality that you desire, that's all within reach for you if you are able to anchor into the pipeline of creation and 5D and higher vibration. It's a journey, it's a process, and so right now it's very much a filtering of people into the pipeline of 5D, filtering your energy, sifting and sorting things that you're holding, especially lower vibrational stuff that need to be released and transformed for you to anchor even more into that 5D pipeline. The Deception card is coming through because this month is very much that doorway of putting your vibration into one of these two pipelines. And so a lot is going to start coming out within the collective, especially the larger global stage, that very much strengthens your A, resonance, and B, ability to discern. Stepping into 5D, stepping further along in your ascension journey, is very much about strengthening your inner truth. And so, what's the best way to strengthen your inner truth? It's about having things pop into your awareness so that you can then be able to make that discernment between the right path for you. Again, in knowing what you do not want, you can very strongly anchor in knowing what you do want. And so I think right now there's going to be a lot of things coming into people's awarenesses for them to sift and sort their own inner truths through their own inner discernment, an ability to step more into their inner truths, anchor those truths within them, and create from the strengthening and empowerment of your inner truth. What's coming through is falling into traps. So there may be a lot of things presented in front of you that are trying to get people to fall into their traps, especially of lower vibrational energy. And so this is really a powerful time for you to strengthen your inner truth and discernment so that you don't get caught up in those traps, so that you can see the traps for what they are and choose the higher path, the higher road, the higher inner truth. And in reality, in truth is love. And so anything that is not of love vibration or higher vibration is not necessarily truth. But again, it's like everything that you are perceiving in your reality is technically truth to you, but when a person is on their ascension journey, you begin to realize that in this 3D experience on a physical planet, the 3D lens is in our awareness for us to know not love. Because in us knowing not love, it strengthens our ability to know and understand love. And this then therefore strengthens our expansion on a soul, non-physical level. And so when you're able to see that from a bird's eye view, you can see how there's purpose in lower vibration and the darker things that are playing out on a global scale and within this physical experience. But at the same time, you begin to understand and step into more of what is truth, and which is of more of the light and love and higher vibration. Your ability to discern between the two, between fear and love, is an essential skill and tool and process that a person needs to go through when making your way further along that 5D path. Because in higher vibration is truth, and in truth is love. And so part of your ascension journey, especially for those of you who are kind of moving between lower vibration and higher vibration and trying to figure out what your inner truth is, now is the time to very much anchor in fully understanding what is truth to you. And again, it's like a person's truth is going to be whatever their vibration is expressed in their reality, because they have that lens on. And so this is about clearing your lens, getting new lens if that's part of your process, and beginning to understand what 3D is essentially, and the movement into 5D and what that means in terms of truth, deception, discernment, fear and love, and distinguishing between those two. A big thing coming out regarding this full moon is what had come through strongly is more information about the 144,000. I'm going to be putting out a video soon after this full moon video that speaks more about the 144,000. It kind of unfolds the message of the 144,000, what it really is about in terms of my own perception and interpretation, and gives a little bit more clarity regarding that topic. The 144,000 is strengthening this month of June with the amplification of overall energy. So with more people stepping into this energy, what came through is a vibrational frequency of the 144,000. More and more people are going to be connecting to their galactic guidance teams, because connecting to your galactic guidance teams, especially for a certain set within the 144,000, a lot of people awakening at this time within that set of 144,000, you are connecting very strongly with your galactic guidance team. It's part of that process. And so the reason why galactic energy is coming through strongly at this time is because more people are connecting into this space of the vibrational frequency of the 144,000. This will then therefore bring through more information, messages, knowledge of galactic spaces and information and realms and knowledge and soul memory, because in this specific set, we spoke about this in a past video about how certain members of the vibrational frequency of 144,000 are transferred consciousness of galactic aspects incarnated into this physical reality. And so this pertains to a specific set within the greater 144,000, which we're going to talk about in the next video that I'm going to put out about the 144,000. And so galactic aspects are going to start coming online a lot stronger. The energy and knowledge of the galactic aspects of our galactic brothers and sisters, multidimensional information is going to start coming through more strongly at this time. Also coming through more strongly with that strengthened connection is increased healing energy from our galactic aspects. So again, stepping into the vibration, stepping and making more of a connection within your galactic guidance teams. And that's going to get stronger because of the amplification of energy within this month, especially with this full moon. It's leveling people up in their ascension. Whatever layer you're on or in, you're going to level up into the next one. This full moon is that apex point of June, which allows the person to kind of break through into the next layer of their ascension journey and open into a new phase and a new stage of expansion for yourself as you move further along on your journey. So this full moon is very strong and a very powerful time for you to make intentions about, first of all, clearing, cleansing, and really letting go of those lower vibrations that no longer serve you. Finally, let that go so that the amplification of energy can really kind of kick that to the curb, and then focusing, shifting your perception and your ability to create into a more higher vibrational way. So focus more on things that you want to create for yourself. They have, the guides have actually really emphasized the point of dreams. And so if you can amplify your ability to dream or daydream and try to dream big and list down things that you want in your life, things that you want to create for yourself. Where is it that you want to be? If you could shift into joy and pure happiness and purpose, what does that look like for you? What does that feel like for you? Focus on those things. Focus on what you do want, not what you do not want. So this full moon is very much about, sure, you can, make those intentions to release and let go of things no longer serving you, but really, really focus on what you do want and use the energy of playfulness to dream up of things that you want to manifest for yourself. Because as you put energy into that play energy and into that dream-like energy of what you want to create for yourself, it adds and amplifies that energy for you. And when making those intentions of dreaming big, just do it in that playful way that allows ease and flow rather than resistance. So a lot of people will hesitate to dream big because they bring in the energy of, how is this going to happen for me? I don't know how I'm going to achieve that. So don't think about the how. Don't think about how, when, where these things are going to manifest for you, but instead just think about how you want to feel. What is the feeling and emotion like? Imagine feeling that, putting yourself into that place of feeling pure joy and bliss where you are in your intentions to manifest it for yourself in the future. And that will very strongly and powerfully align you to it so that you can rendezvous with those manifestations for yourself in the future. Another thing that came up, they're bringing my attention to our live soul group gathering that we had over on Patreon with this full moon. We had it earlier today. What had come through was an activation of the heart and the mind. So an opening of the heart and mind with this full moon. So with this powerful strengthening, amplification, and activation of energy with this full moon, it's activating, first of all, an open heart and an open mind, but also a more balanced solar plexus area, working alongside that trilogy energy. The trilogy videos I'm putting out this month, I have 3 parts. Very much connects and ties into this because the energies that we're working with right now is a very strong divine feminine, divine masculine, and Christ consciousness energy, all trying to integrate and balance within our energy centers, especially in that solar plexus area, so that we can gain more inner empowerment, more purpose, gain and strengthen your I am presence, so that you can step further along on your journey. Because it's like, for a lot of people, without the strengthened inner empowerment, a person cannot really move forward into the next level of your ascension. You really have to have a strengthened inner empowerment, which creates a strengthening of balance within you, allowing you to step into this 0 point creation state. From that 0 point state is where you can then create your reality and manifest and create your universe on this greater, grander scale, open up your energy a little bit more, and really amplify you and drive you into further layers of the ascension, because your physical body needs to get to a place in alignment with your soul so that you can move into those higher spaces and higher vibrations that a 3D body can't necessarily go into. And that inner empowerment is kind of like the key that unlocks your physical body's ability to move into a higher vibrational body in alignment with your soul, to move you into the next stages of your ascension, which we are all moving into very, very quickly, especially with this month of June and this full moon, which offers that powerful turbo boost into the next stages of our ascension. For a lot of light workers out there, making the intention to connect with your other aspects, your past, present, future, and beyond within your now moment, bringing forward your inner lost knowledge is something that you might want to do with this full moon to really amplify and turbo boost and bring forward that energy of turbo boost within those aspects of you so that you can connect more and retrieve a lot of your inner lost knowledge at this time, because I feel a lot of that inner lost knowledge really, really stirring for a lot of people and wanting to come forward and present itself and be expressed through people. And I think this full moon is really about kind of cleansing and clearing the things that are preventing a person from filtering that knowledge in, so that it creates space for the person to bring forward that information and begin working with it in their next stage of whatever they're going through in their ascension. So very, very strong time for that inner lost knowledge to begin coming forth, if you desire for it to come forth for you, and make those intentions, because those steps are really opening for a lot of people. What's coming through right now is bringing forward your inner lost knowledge is very strongly connected to this deception card and what we were talking about regarding duality and discernment especially. So in this energy of the full moon and this energy of June is, again, strengthening that inner empowerment within people, because once you hold inner empowerment, strengthen your inner self-love, you will then be able to strengthen your ability to discern, because in knowing and strengthening your inner truth, you can then discern better in your reality, the things that are playing out for you in your physical reality. You're able to better resonate with what is truth for you if you're holding it within yourself. So that is another thing that came through in the soul group call this afternoon over on Patreon is, a lot of people are kind of in this space of not really knowing the difference between fear and love, or more so kind of getting into the energy of fear and being swept up into that energy, or having trouble discerning between what is truth for them, because so much is coming to the surface right now. A lot of fear-based things are coming up to the surface to try to get people caught in the web of fear. And so what the energy of the guides and our guidance systems right now are really working with us, even especially that trilogy energy, what is working with us is within our solar plexus, harnessing that trilogy energy and that balance, inner empowerment, I am presence, your inner truth, so that if you are able to hold the energy of self-love, inner empowerment, truth, then distinguishing it in the world and reality around you won't be that hard. It will become more in alignment with what you feel. And if you strengthen your inner empowerment and your ability to resonate and discern things within yourself, then it's going to unfold in the reality around you as well. As you move further along on your journey, following your truth, strengthening your discernment, then your inner lost knowledge is able to come forward in a much faster and easier and more seamless way, because that is the energy of flow and ease and higher vibration, where your inner lost knowledge in its higher vibrational interpretation through you and perception through you will be able to unfold for you, versus in those lower vibrational energies of fear especially. The inner lost knowledge may come forward, yes, for certain people, but their ability to interpret the inner lost knowledge that they hold will come from that perceived place of fear and lower vibration. And so our guidance systems in oneness are very much trying to get us to focus on the higher vibrations, so that even when, especially when inner lost knowledge comes through, we can interpret it and perceive it from a higher vibrational space, which is the space of truth and love. And that's what needed to come through right now for this full moon. I will create the next video, which I'll talk more about the 144,000 vibrational frequency.
Okay, y'all. Yes, that was what I wanted to play, because this is the damn time we're in, you see. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play a tune for you. And then I'll be back and wrapping this whole thing up, tying it together as I do. And yeah, I'm gonna play a dub tune here. I'm just feeling that. And yeah, I've hit this one before, and I'm gonna hit it again because yeah, I like it so, you know. So this one is King Tubby. This is a rude boy dub here. Yeah. Enjoy. Oh, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Woo. Yeah, man. So, yes, now, soul brothers and sisters, yes, children, this is, how this show's gone tonight, you see. So, I'm dealing with, so, remember now, the title of this show is Liberation from Manufactured Reality. So what has just happened with this full moon? Now, the moon represents Cancer, as I did tell you. The moon also represents the emotions, the nurturing, emotional nurturing I was talking about on last Tuesday's show. The emotional nurturing and being love, okay? And the reason why, now, when you're dealing with emotional, right, it will be pertained to the heart center because the heart center is the seat of all emotions, you know, seat of emotions. So the moon that has then now had to transit over Jupiter, right, for it to get in position to be opposite the sun in Gemini at 25 degrees for you to have your full moon. Now, that transit it made over Jupiter, that is where you're now dealing with this amplification of the emotional body, the amplification of the vibration that you are on, and the fact that when you're dealing with truth, why you have it's about developing or strengthening your inner truth, because Jupiter represents the truth of the soul. It's the nature of the soul. And in soul astrology, you see, this is what's been happening is that a lot of emotions is being activating within folk, a lot of feelings, a lot of, when I say feelings, the heart center being active, expanding the light in the solar plexus, the heart and the mind, that has been expanding and being a lot of shifts going on in there. I mean, people over the past few weeks have been feeling, or strongs, they've been feeling like really not very motivated, want to rest, want to sleep. Or you have some people who would say, man, I feel terrific, I'm great, that could be because they're aligning with that positive, the amplification of where they're at. And but then there is a turbulence, because then that 3D stuff, that fear, the anxiety, and all of that could be kicking in, and or drama coming from other people, and what they're going through. You see, so so what I'm going to say here is, see, on a deeper level, Jupiter correlates to your belief systems or structure of the soul. And the thing with the beliefs, you see, beliefs are the determinant to how we interpret life itself. So you see, with Jupiter, it symbolizes also philosophical and metaphysical or cosmological context, which it gives to life. Okay, so the planet reflects a continual expansion within your consciousness, hence the expansion and amplification of the vibration that you are particularly on. And Jupiter is the planetary ruler of Sagittarius, and Jupiter correlates with the issues of truth or honesty, and one needs to realize truth from a philosophical and metaphysical context. Okay, this leads to an awareness of natural law, not man-made law, natural law. Okay. And then there are natural laws that explain the existence and operation of creation, by the sheer fact that creation, okay, exists in the first place, okay? Now, thus, natural law is a very deep correlation of this planetary archetype, okay? So Jupiter then will describe the soul's belief system by the house and the sign that you may have Jupiter in. You would have Jupiter in your own chart. So it's the soul's belief system. It's the soul's, you could say, knowing structure. It's the belief system of the soul structure, okay? And the resulting philosophical or metaphysical meaning that an individual has in life. So how an individual interprets life, or the way they're interpreting life, will be described by the natal position of your Jupiter and its aspects it makes to other planets. So similarly, Jupiter correlates with the manner in which the entire process of dynamics are given in a philosophical meaning and is interpreted. Okay, so this Jupiter, which links to Amun-Ra in ancient Chem, Zeus in Greek, yeah, Olodumare in Yoruba, right? It just goes on, because you're dealing with the same thing that has been given different names and terminologies in different cultural systems, that has borrowed things from more previous, more ancient systems, okay, than its own. So it seems like you're dealing with different things when you're dealing with just the same. You're dealing with different names or labeling of the same thing, okay? So, yeah, to wrap this up here now. So when I'm saying that, look, liberating ourselves from manufactured reality, what you heard from what the sister who was the ambassador of the African Union was addressing the United States and the offices there, gave you a history of how, forced identities have been constructed and people's lives have been affected in detrimental ways for the benefit of others, to serve their material greed and lustful desires over that stuff, right? And that 3D is that lower frequency that keeps you locked within the physical perspective and five senses type of thing, and it's very fear based. And through fear, you can control people to behave in the ways that you want them to behave. Now, it seems like, folk don't understand how technology works. They don't understand the ancient technology. They don't understand that modern technology is based on ancient stuff that has been hidden to give you the impression that the previous civilizations or what was in the past was less advanced to what is going on there now. So that's another way of dumbing down people. Okay, to then buy into the narrative, the propaganda, the manufactured reality that has been designed for humanity to buy into, okay, by those who are stuck on physical parameters of awareness, of consciousness, and therefore want to keep everybody else trapped in there with them, all right? But what we're dealing with here now is that, there's a cosmic galactic, you see, we got, some of us are star seeds. And what I mean by that is that, see, star seeds come in here, and they're the ones who come in here and they feel like this place ain't my home. And I don't mean about a country or a certain area in a country where you may feel, this is, you don't feel at home here in that location. I am talking those who have this memory in themselves that this is not where they come from. And you get people who only think that, well, this is the only planet, so-called, that has, so-called earthy life on it exists. And the thing with star seeds, they know that they come from beyond this planet. Okay? So that can be experienced as a bit of a homesickness. And some folk kind of get really... You see, because of what has happened and how the West has kind of distorted so much stuff, you got many people of ethnic background that don't want to really trust anything they hear, Europeans may say, it's understandably, okay? But the thing is that what's happening here is you're using ancient knowledge. You're using knowledge people used to have, but when they drop down in frequency, they've now turned. You've entered into amnesia. And you heard on the video just there how the sister was talking about. Look, ancient knowledge, ancient forgotten knowledge is going to be coming up inside of folk. Now, this has been going on before this full moon. I will tell you that. But we're talking about an amplification and a strengthening and an establishment of this inner truth that is emerging from those who are on the frequency. Now, a lot of people will stay stuck in this 3D because they're dealing with victimhood. They're dealing with, of course, it's quite traumatic what has taken place. But you see, there's a method in the madness. And a lot of people just deal with the madness and don't understand that there's a method, and that method shows there's been an organized madness, an organized method that was to induce a madness for the purpose of an agenda. Okay, so nothing was blindly done, and it was able to happen because of the period of time, because you're dealing with also times where consciousness expands and times where consciousness contracts. So this was how certain things were able to be implemented at certain times. And when you fall or your consciousness is lowered into just a corporeal awareness, then you are out of touch with your true identity, which is the soul, which is vibrating higher than the physical body. Now, there was a lot of things the woman, the sister was saying in this, which, is why which I felt was very pertinent to this full moon and what I've been experiencing anyway. And what I know is true in what she's talking about. Now, so with the moon going over Jupiter, it's going to be amplifying the emotions. Now, your emotions is basically energy, emotion. And as I said, you're dealing with vibrations. All right. And I said that everything in existence is basically vibrations of frequencies of consciousness. Yeah, this is the way you're going to get this information. If you stay in the old kind of, box compartmentalized thinking, and your limitation of your awareness or perception can't enable you to expand beyond this flesh, blood, and solid and, knuckle dragon, this limitation of how you're perceiving yourself, then your ego is keeping you in a prison based on fear that you may have to open up and leave certain limited perspectives behind, to open up, to be receptive to more, more of reality rather than the little grain of sand you're taking for everything. So there's some things that she was saying in this that I just want to really illustrate. The inner higher vibration or higher vibration is the truth. Yeah? And truth is love. Okay? And it's about strengthening your inner truth. Truth is love and is the higher life. Yeah? So the energy of June is reaching an apex because we're coming up to also the summer solstice. So the summer solstice is where you're going to have the longest day and the shortest night in the year. And you're dealing with the amplification and intensification of energy, vibrational frequencies. So the full moon Jupiter Sagittarius is the amplification and strengthening of whatever vibration you're on, 3D, or if you're focusing in on your soul, to elevate into the 5D. Now, these are just dimensions. These are not places and locations. These are different rates of vibration. So focusing on what you want is more about the shifting your focus, you see, from the fear-based level and focusing on the things you don't want, okay? Because it's how you're left feeling. And people kind of, they undermine what feelings are. They undermine feelings and to their own detriment, because this is what's also causing people to die of many, related diseases, that people think that food is the source of your cure. Yeah? Physicality, physical food. Now, physical food and various things that people would suggest, it can assist you, but it's a chemical reaction to change the vibrational frequency inside of you. In order for you to connect to and tune in to that state of consciousness frequency that will maintain, okay, the adjustment that needs to be taking place inside of your body in order for you to be back into harmonic resonance again with that higher frequency. So food is like a chemical reaction, okay? And it can raise your vibrations or change a certain frequency that you may need in order to make that adjustment back into that wholeness. But it's not the source of your health, okay? And again, this is the material thinking, people looking outside themselves. The more physical you are, the more food you need to eat, physical food. The more spiritual you are, you don't need to eat so much food, physical food, okay? You don't even need to, you may end up eating more or drinking more fluids rather than dealing with the density of the food that you think that you need for your survival. It's only a physical chemical reaction, yeah? And it's a bit like, say you want to climb up on a wall, but you just can't jump to grab onto the top of the wall to pull yourself over. So there's this thing, what you call a little bunk up. Somebody helps you up, so you stand on their shoulders, or they lift you up with their hand, and you step in there, you put your foot in there and they push you up. They give you enough leverage to lift you up, enough levitation for you to be able to grab on to the top of the wall, right? And pull yourself up. Now, when you're pulling yourself up, you're not still standing on their shoulders or on their hand, or on their shoulders or so forth. You now can pull yourself up to the higher frequency, okay? And stay there, establish that frequency yourself, because it's a state of consciousness really that you need to attune to. But the food can be like a vibrational boost that shifts your frequency or tickle your chakras to remind you, your body, of what you intend, what your soul intends for it. Okay, because a lot of people are out of alignment with their soul, which is the self. So therefore, they're depending upon physical outward direction and dealing with physical food, physicality at all, or only. Yeah, and the physical is not the source of your life force. Yeah, it is not. Yeah, so this is how you keep people physical, and all this, and we'll debate and but food. Yeah. You're just physical. You just think that your soul energy comes, your source of your energy comes from physical food. When your source of your energy comes from the life force energy, life force consciousness that's permeating everything. Yeah, okay, the life force energy of your soul. You see what I mean? And everything is energy. Yeah, your atoms that makes up the molecules of your body that builds up into cells, that's all energy, people. And that is life force energy, not just blind, mechanical, unintelligent energy. You're dealing with life itself, okay? And as I said to you already, you're dealing with the fact that You're dealing with the fact that, you see, as I said, all existence is actually frequencies of consciousness, vibratory frequencies of consciousness. So with this full moon, it's an amplification of the emotional self and the purging of, it's like, as I said, what you're vibrating on is going to be amplified. So it's how you're feeling. And Jupiter is a very positive, benevolent, and what they say, fortunate, lucky, yeah, energy. So therefore now, it's the energies that are shifting is pushing us into whatever pipeline you have chosen on a soul level. So pipeline, whatever is going to be your avenue or channel, where you're channeling your energy. You see? So a lot of people are caught in low vibrations, right? But the low vibrations serve two purposes, right? It's the two purposes it serves. It's like, well, firstly, if you're having these lower thoughts coming through into you, it is going to make you anchor yourself back into the 3D because you're going to get caught up in the fear. Or if it's coming through you, you can observe in your consciousness that you may have some things you need to kind of burn out. Yeah, that's of that lower frequency. And that lower frequency gives you an indication of what you don't want so you can focus on what you do want. You see? And a lot of us do focus a lot on what we don't want. And we are left feeling ways we don't like. And not realizing that your feelings is creative power. Now, there's this thing about resonance. Resonance is the way you receive expression from the universe. It's like, when you send a message on your phone and then you get ping or some notification note of now receiving a message back from the message you've sent out. Yeah, you're receiving now the message back as an expression based on the person who's now responding to you, right? So you get a ping back from the way that you give expression from yourself. So resonance, resounding, yeah, resonance. Just to clarify something about resonance. You see, resonance is a structure that vibrates at a frequency that is natural to it and most easily sustained by it. Okay? A resonant frequency. Yeah? Resonant, increasing the intensity of sounds by sympathetic vibration. Now, sympathetic resonance, yeah, the reinforced vibration of an object exposed to the vibration at about the same frequency as another object. Now, that sounds all scientific and flipping what's not. But the thing is this. You are a resonant chamber. You are a vibratory being. So basically, whatever you are sending out, you're resonating at that frequency, and you will attract to you that which is going to, as in sympathetic resonance, resonate back same way. Okay? So it's what you naturally resonate with, and that frequency naturally sustains you effortlessly. Now, when you're dealing with frequencies, you have frequency interferences. And you can have constructive interference and destructive interference. See what I'm saying? Now, the constructive interference is harmonic, and you're going to feel all of that, good vibes, man, and love and higher feelings. You got a constructive resonant field. But then when you interact with maybe something else or a different energy, you can have a disruptive or destructive energy field, and this is how you experience bad vibes, so to speak, negative vibes. But if it's constructive, you're going to feel positive vibes. You see what I'm saying? It's going to be harmonic. So this is what we're dealing with here. So it's about mastering your vibrations, your state of consciousness. Knowing strongly of what you don't want enables you to focus strongly on what you do want. Now, universal cosmic forces is moving through, so it's supporting us. It's the awakening of one's inner truth. Now, the truth is that you are the soul. And your body needs to vibrate at the frequency of the soul in order to then move into the higher frequency planes of what was considered the fifth dimension. Now, the lower frequencies, the 3D purpose on a physical planet or the 3D lens that's in our awareness is there for us to know what love is not, or no, not love, no love, okay? And you got it. You got to admit, people on the 3D, everybody's like confused about what is love, right? And I've been doing a show about this for a few songs now, about amour, the light of the soul. So the run is here is that basically the purpose of the lower frequencies is to enable you. It strengthens your ability from not knowing love to strengthen your ability to know and understand what love really is, and therefore strengthens one's expansion, okay, on the soul level, right, which is the non-physical reality, okay? So, look, I'm going to wrap it up this evening because there's a lot more that I can just pick up, and I'm going to continue from the next show. So I hope you all get what I'm saying here. And the thing is that you realize, look, you're dealing with a manufactured reality and how it's being set up. And what you are considering as your identity is not you. You are the soul, but you have to wake up to this realization yourself. Anybody can just keep telling you, you're the soul, you're the soul, you're the soul. But that's indirect experience. You need to have direct experience of yourself. You see what I'm saying? But you got to understand this. You're a vibratory being. Right now, you got the amplification of whatever frequency you are on. Now, love is of the feeling and the nature of the soul. Fear is of the egoic mindset. Now, things are going to come up to try to pull you into your traps, drop you back down into these lower fear-based frequencies. And everything, a whole heap of stuff going on in the news around the world, all of that stuff can impact on you because you're a vibratory being and, everything is interconnected. So what others are putting out, you may be able to feel it too. Or depending how empathic you are, or depending, you could be a numb one. And just oblivious to stuff that's eating you away alive, but you're unconscious of it. But the thing is that I'm saying here is that it's time to step up in your sophistication of knowledge of yourself and realize your feelings. It's more about how you feel you would feel if you were to be manifesting what it is you desire to manifest, rather than be trying to focus in a linear way on what you want based on physical material stuff. It's not that. It's based on how will you feel. So this is why I'm saying feelings have been given a bad rap, because feelings is your barometer and navigation system. In fact, feel is the wheel that steers your vehicle into your vibratory vehicle into the higher frequencies, or keeps you stuck in the lower, because vibrations is what everything is about. And these vibrations are conscious living intelligence. So listen here, I'm going to call it and wrap it up right now. And I'll be elaborating on what I talked about today about liberation from manufactured reality. Because if you perpetuate what you're believing based upon this manufactured reality and keep on going on, you're a victim about this and this and that, and don't wake up to the truth of yourself, then you're staying in the very paradigm that folks want you to be in, those who set it up that way, because you're believing a lie. Okay? This is about strengthening of the truth within, and the truth is your soul, who you is. You understand? And it's about direct experience, As I said, you don't have a soul, you are the soul. You have a body and a mind, though, yeah? And that has to be governed and directed by whom owns it or possesses it, which is your soul, okay? Yeah? So, listen, y'all, I'm going to wrap it up, call it an evening, and, I bid you a good shadow hour, and, we'll be back on the flip side for another Cosmic Root show, Reality of One's True Self, next Tuesday. And, a quick shout out to some, yes, I was supposed to read out, see, I'm doing this near the end. I should have done it at the beginning. No problem. I'm still going to do it because I just remembered. There's an event coming up, and this event, I'm going to read out on the air. I promised that I would read this event out. This is an event coming up. Gosh, I'm trying to bring this up on what's not now. This event is happening somewhere in June. Just hang on a minute. Got some stupid stuff going on with these. You see, technology ain't always what they want to make it out to be. It can just be very messy and stupid when it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Anyway, there is I'm just giving I'm reading out. There's an event. This is Sister Amra, if you're listening, my dear, here he is. I Basi, I pay homage. Yeah, presents. Yeah, on the 22nd and the 23rd of June, 2019 at 7:30 p.m. Watford Multicultural Center, 7 Durban Road West, Watford WD 187DS. Yeah, a research and development project celebrating African and Caribbean people and the richness of our artistic forms. We pay homage to our ancestors, both past and present. Produced, written, and performed by Angie Amra Anderson. Directed by Armani Neptali. Yeah? Cast Pauline Anderson, Kay Smith, Miriam Dubayos, and Oni Anderson. The contact number is 07402 953 987 for further details. The email is amraproductions@gmail.com. This is how you can get in touch. Funded by the Arts Council. It's £10 at the door. So this is going to be an event. It's Amra Production presents Aibase, which means I pay homage. So this is an event on the 22nd and 23rd of June 2019 from 7:30. £10 at the door at Watford Multicultural Center, 7 Durban Road West, Watford WD 187DS. So yes, get on down there. And I will promote it. Will there be enough time? Yeah, I think if not, anyway, I'll promote it again next Tuesday. But yeah, this is go down and check it out, y'all. This sister is brilliant, and her sister, Pauline. They are beautiful. They're magnificent. I'm bigging you up, sisters, because the dance and the drumming and how they. Wow, Pauline, the way she dances, y'all. You feel it, you feel Yemenia, you feel Oshun, you feel the energy, yeah, which you're actually supposed to embody. It's not something that you're looking outside of yourself or worshiping some ancestors and throwing some things in a tree and all of that stuff. It's actually energy, consciousness, intelligence. You have to embody and realize you are that. You understand? And allow that to be expressed through you. But anyway, yeah, great artists, and they've been doing their works for decades, all right? So they're very, very high in their field. So, yeah, take a trip down there, y'all. And yeah, and I'm saying that I'm wrapping it up. So I'll see you on the flip side, and